Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, I love all the Oilers jerseys in the crowd today. Don't worry, I've got mine at my table. I'll be putting it on shortly. Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to start with a performance. So if you're not in your seats, kindly find them. And thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. She never mentions the word addiction in certain company. Yeah, she tells you she's an orphan after you meet her family. Paints her eyes black as night now. She pulls those shades down tight. Yeah, she gives a smile when the pain comes, 'cause the pain's gonna make everything alright. Oh, since she talks to angels, says they all know her name. Oh yeah, since she talks to angels, they call her out by her name. Keeps a lock of hair in her pocket. She wears a cross around her neck. Yeah, the hair is from a little boy, and the cause is someone she has not met. I she talks to angels. Says you know her name. Oh yeah, says she talks to angels. Call her out by her name. She don't know no lover, not there I've ever seen. To her that ain't nothing, but to me it means everything. She never mentioned the word addiction. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jaden Holman. That was amazing. Jaden is a passionate singer-songwriter who developed his talent in breathtaking Nanaimo, BC, but to pursue his emerging career in a more urban, musically rich environment, he chose to move to Edmonton in 2022, and he wrote that song just for Little Warriors. So thank you so much, and what an inspiring way to begin our luncheon. Music therapy is one of the ways that we heal children impacted by sexual abuse trauma at the Be Brave branch. So how fitting to start our luncheon today with music. And thank you also to our entertainment sponsor, Inline Group. What a wonderful way to have you contribute to our cause as well. Thank you, Inline Group. My name is Jennifer Martin, and I have the great pleasure of being the CEO at Little Warriors, just under a year now, so still pretty new. It is also my great privilege to be your MC today. I would like to acknowledge that we are on traditional lands referred to as Treaty 6 territory, and that the city of Edmonton and all the people here are beneficiaries of the Peace and Friendship Treaty. Treaty 6 encompasses the traditional territories of numerous Western Canadian First Nations, as well as the Métis people who've called this area home for time immemorial. For those of you, and I'm kind of curious, for those of you just learning about Little Warriors and the Be Brave Ranch, I'm curious, how many people, this is your first time at our luncheon? Quite a few. Thank you for coming. And thank you to those who have brought you here today. So Little Warriors is a national charitable organization focused on the awareness, prevention, and also the intensive specialized treatment of child sexual abuse trauma. Little Warriors Child Sexual Abuse Prevention Workshop for adults, which is free of charge. Anyone in this room or those you know, people in your company can take it. It's called Prevent It. You'll find it at littlewarriors.ca. It's already been delivered to 47,000 Canadians in our 10-year operating history. 10-year and beyond, actually. I think we're more like 16 years old in existence. So check that out. And our new Be Brave Bridge programs are also now offering online awareness and resources for children and teens as well. We actually have teens finding our resources because they struggle to deal with not only feeling threatened online, sextortion, luring, but many other things as they grow up. So what you're supporting today is a real variety of amazing work to help our kids and the adults around them raise a healthy next generation. Little Warriors Be Brave Ranch, which many of you know about, is a physical site and that's our specialized trauma-informed and evidence-based clinical treatment center for children who have been sexually abused, as well as their families. Our therapists discover a lot of intergenerational trauma, and so when a child interacts with us, we have wraparound supports to ensure that they're successful at home, and that includes involving their families in the therapy process. So the Be Brave Ranch is just an incredible place where children and teens can heal from what has happened to them and increase their chances of growing into healthy adults. So as we gather to support this incredible work, we ask you to please check out our online auction. You're gonna shop anyway. Do it with us. And anyone who needs some rationale for spending money, well, here you go. You're supporting a cause. So really, there's no excuse. And there's a lot of amazing things that our supporters have donated. And so we really encourage you to get involved in our online auction. There are a lot of great items. You can also bid in our 50-50 in support of the Be Brave Ranch, and 100% of the 50% will go to our charity. So I know the Oilers 50-50s are popular, but think of your odds and think of the cause. So please do check out the 50-50. There is a QR code on your table setting that will take you to the auction, to the 50-50, and the bidding for the auction does close at 1:30, and we will do the 50-50 draw here today at 1:25 live, so make sure you get in on that. Right now, I would like to recognize some of our Be Brave sponsors who make this day, but also the work that the amazing team at Little Warriors carries out all year round, happen. So that is Fluid Life, and I think Heather and Sarah maybe and Nancy Dick might be here. So thank you to Fluid Life, and also thank you to Flamin. I know Flamin is here. Thank you so much to Flamin. They're also title sponsors, by the way, of our first ever Calgary Luncheon, which we're having in Friday in Calgary. So thank you so much. Another supporter and dear friend of Little Warriors is Dr. Kelly Palfy, and she is here to say a blessing before lunch.
Hello, I love that song that talked about talking to angels. So sometimes I talk to God, and today I asked him what he'd like to relate to you guys, and he said, I'm well pleased with your giving, so that's a nice word. And so Lord, we just thank you for this day. I thank you for all the people that are here who have a heart to bless your children, Lord. Lord, we give you praise and honor, and we come to you as your children, and we thank you that you have provided the Be Brave Ranch as a place of safe refuge and healing for your children who need it. We are also grateful that you have made a way for us to be even a small part of this very, very important work. And Lord, we ask that you bless the work of their hands, also that you would cause the hearts of the children who they serve to be healed and to see your face. Father, we can't do it without you. And Lord, we thank you for this people who are here and who have hearts to bless your children. We ask that you bless this food that we are about to receive and let it be used for your good service, and bless the hands that prepared it in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you so much, Kelly. We're going to continue on. I keep going, right? I'm looking to my team. I'm just up here smiling, and I keep on continuing, I think, with the program. So until someone tells me to stop, I'll just keep going up here. Those who know me know that I do like to talk. We want to thank our great staff at the Edmonton Convention Center here today for serving our lunch. And I would also like to ask our volunteer board of directors members to please stand up so that we can thank them. We have an incredible board. Yes, absolutely. So our board chairs, our new co-chairs that we are super excited about, Mr. Deli McEwen from Next Gen Transportation, for now, moving on. Kirsten Hain from RIFAN is our other co-chair, and she's here as well. So I'll list the other board members, and these folks really do a lot of work to support us on their volunteer time, lending their talents. Jason Pincock, Jay Noden, Lee Funky, Guy Mercereau, Ashley McCarney, Dallas Watson in Calgary, Suzanne Longier, Allison Ostapowicz, Alexis Baragusa, and Carmen McHale, also in Calgary. So thank you so much. I'd also like to thank our volunteers, if I could quickly, because I've met a couple of you for the first time in person today. If you volunteered in any way for Little Warriors in the last year or so, maybe more, could you just put your hands up and give us a wave? There's so many volunteers here today. Thank you. And so whether that's anything from coming to paint or do some garden work or run a third-party fundraiser, there are so many ways to get involved. And so we want to really thank our volunteers. And if you're interested in volunteering, just go to littlewarriors.ca and connect with us. We also have a needs list. We always need everything from combs to toothbrushes to sheets. So check out our website. We'd also like to mention that Stahl Peterbilt is our centerpiece sponsor today, and thank you so much to them. Also, I think a wonderful supporter all year round, especially around our therapy dogs, but the centerpieces on your table are really special, and I'm just gonna quickly grab one. So you'll notice that these are the cross-section of a tree, and this is from a tree that actually grew on the Be Brave Ranch site. So when you think of it in a lot of ways, our theme maybe today unofficially is growth, because that's what happened there. And this tree was at the Be Brave Ranch. You'll see the silhouette with the strong trunk in the middle, supporting it with love at the top and be brave at the bottom. And there's a message on the back. And you'll notice too that you will be getting yellow donation forms at your tables. And we encourage you to bid on these as another way to support. And when you have this around, you can always look at it and know that it is, having one is hopefully inspiring, but also that you have done something to help children who are in trauma to heal and prevent others who might be open to sexual abuse from protecting themselves through our prevention programs. So there are also auction forms at each table, and we encourage you to please pass those around. The starting bid is $50 for this piece. So there's the online auction, and there's our centerpiece. We'll take a short break right now before we resume with our program. And for now, please enjoy your lunch and visiting with one another.
So the Be Brave Ranch is the first long-term treatment center anywhere in the world for kids that have been sexually abused, which is pretty amazing. It has been built by Albertans and is the only one of its kind in the entire world. So what we do here, and I'll tell you why it's so special, is that we treat kids that have been sexually abused in a long-term capacity. So our programs last a year with the kids and the families. Every single thing that we do here is research-based.
So the Be Brave Ranch uses multimodal therapy, and one of the therapies that we utilize is group therapy. Children and adolescents are involved in group therapy every day during their time with us and throughout their rounds of treatment. This is one of the group therapy spaces. We call this the Blue Room, and we generally meet with the therapist, at least one therapist, sometimes two, and sometimes Rugby, our therapy dog, joins us for group therapy as well. At Little Warriors Be Brave Ranch, we use various types of therapies and different modalities to support children's healing. One of the things that we do is offer art therapy with an art therapist. Children have the ability to use paint or clay or collage or various types of media to be able to express themselves through their healing journey. We offer treatment within a camp-like environment. While the children and adolescents work hard in their therapy, we also like to have a lot of fun. This space behind us is our dining room, and so children and adolescents come together at lunchtime and supper time, as well as to celebrate graduations in this space. Children and youth also participate in psychodrama, and oftentimes the space gets turned into a Harry Potter theme space as we're working on our psychodrama as well.
So we have an unbelievable relationship with the University of Alberta. We also have a scientific review committee, and they review basically all of the outcomes that are happening with the kids that come to the ranch. So we can basically prove that we can reduce PTSD, depression, anxiety, cutting, all of those things that are often consequences of child sexual abuse.
So children and teens do their day-to-day activities in the cabin. Each child or youth has their own personal bedroom. When they first come to the Be Brave Ranch, they get to choose their room, and in their room is a little welcome package of hygiene items and other things so that they can begin their healing journey. Children and teens use their cabins as living spaces. They share movie nights, also, have breakfast together, really enjoy making pancakes or waffles together.
So there's a look at the Be Brave Ranch. It's really important, I think, when you see the place where so much hard work by these kids and their families happens, and by our clinical staff and our therapy team. Pictures and a video is worth 1,000 words. So again, we're so pleased to share this glimpse of what we do with you, and ask for your help. And I will continue to kind of sprinkle throughout the program some thanks, because it does take so many people to make this happen for the kids. So I'll continue to just sprinkle a few more thanks as we go. I would like to thank our volunteer sponsor, Trixie Rowan of Raymond James. Trixie, I think you're probably here somewhere. And Trixie is amazing. A lot of you might know her. And Raymond James as well. They have supported this event and Little Warriors in not just sponsoring the luncheon, but in so many ways. For many years, I have been outside of a house or a building meeting Trixie and leaving with a car full, like to the point I could barely see out of my windows, with donations that she's gotten. So just so many ways. Thank you, Raymond James and Trixie. And we have another group, our volunteer team, the marvelous crew from Starbucks is here, so thank you. And so these are great team building opportunities for companies to be able to give back to the community that gives so much to us. So we had someone at Starbucks start to get involved with Little Warriors. She actually left the company but still is volunteering here today. And her team at Starbucks continues. So it just grows and grows and grows, much like the tree in our centerpieces today. Another partner that we are expanding our relationship with, I'm very proud and pleased to say, is Alberta's Minister of Children and Family Services. The minister himself recently spent some time at our Be Brave branch. It was about 2 weeks ago, and I thought he might just be in and out. I think he was there for nearly 2 hours, and I thought, how lucky are we that this cabinet minister is taking the time. He was so interested in what all of you are helping us do and what happens at the Be Brave Ranch. And so he was supposed to be here today. We had him all booked, and then Danielle Smith pulled him down to Calgary. But so we do want to introduce Minister Cyril Turton. He recorded a greeting for us today, and we did want to bring that to you. So a word from Minister Turton.
Hi, I'm Cyril Turton, Minister of Children and Family Services. On behalf of Alberta's government, it's my honor to bring greetings in celebration of Little Warriors and the amazing work being done at the Be Brave Ranch. Every child deserves to be safe and live without fear of abuse. They deserve every opportunity to grow and thrive. And I'm so grateful Little Warriors makes that possible by offering a safe place for kids and teens who've experienced sexual abuse to process what they've been through and to take that first step in their difficult and courageous healing journey. Because of your work, many young survivors have been able to change the trajectory of their lives. And that's why Alberta's government is proud to support all of your efforts to help families build resilience. To those of you that help make this amazing work possible, congratulations on 10 years of dedicated service and advocacy on behalf of our most vulnerable young Albertans. And to those that stand alongside us in supporting Little Warriors' work, thank you for your generosity. Together, I know we can ensure that children and youth can receive life-changing treatment for many years to come. Thank you.
So Minister Turton and his team have been very receptive as new minister for this portfolio to the work that we do. And we're really excited about some things that we're working on to have them as a great partner for our mission going forward. I would like now to introduce someone that many of you are familiar with who is so special and critical really to the work of Little Warriors, our clinical director, Dr. Wanda Polzin Holman. And she is responsible, along with her peers and partners on the Scientific Council, for our evidence-based programs, scientific research, and measured outcomes. Dr. Wanda.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Dogs with Wings, Rugby, and I want to just acknowledge that today is a great day, and it's not just a great day because the Oilers are likely going to clinch another playoff spot today. Yep. But we are also coming together to recognize and celebrate Little Warriors. It's my true honor to be able to speak today on behalf of our clinical team and our amazing staff, some who are here today. Yep. But also to ensure that there's a true voice for vulnerable children and teens who attend our treatment facility. And in fact, we are full today at the treatment center with a graduation happening tomorrow, as well as another graduation happening on Friday. So good job, team. One other thing that I want to share for those of you who are new today is we do talk about this almost at every luncheon, but I talk about it to intentionally bring this forward because When children or teen come to our treatment center, one of the very first things that they do is they get to go choose a blanket for themselves in our blanket room. And blankets come from all across Canada. Often they're sewn and given to us from survivors themselves. Some are quilting groups and grandmothers, and oftentimes they have messages inside the blankets. But when we give those blankets to the children, we also let them know that although we're the ones touring them and we're the ones that they'll see every day at the treatment center, that there's literally thousands of other people cheering them on. And today is a good day to prove that point. So thank you for being here for that. I also want to take a moment to thank our founder, Glory Meldrum, who couldn't be here today, as well as our dedicated board of directors. In addition, I want to thank our scientific and clinical council members, many who are here today. This group of academics, researchers, and practitioners come together externally to support myself and our team to ensure that we are continually ensuring best practices, and not only practicing, but contributing to the field of research regarding child and family sexual abuse, addictions, and trauma. I want to share my appreciation to each and every one of you who showed up today, whether you are a donor, a volunteer, community, or governmental supporter. Thank you for your time and attention to the issues that we are talking about today. I'm going to be talking and I'm going to be sharing a little bit of a video in a few moments, but I do want to say that during this time that I'm talking, but also when Timea is talking later, please take care of yourself. I do know that there are many survivors out in the audience today, and it's important that you take time, and if you need any support, please just reach out to any of our staff. Many of you know about our programs, and Jennifer has shared a little bit, and you saw a video. We're getting the video updated. It's about 5 years old, because we have, over the last 5 years, expanded dramatically. In the last 5 years, we have actually tripled in size. We started with a children's program for 8 to 12-year-olds, and then shortly after added an adolescent program for 12 to 16-year-olds, and then we expanded that for 12 to 18-year-olds, and we continue to serve children, youth, and families from all across Canada. In addition, we do have people reaching out to us from other parts of the world, Australia, Denmark. We've had some clients come most recently from Hungary. And so I just want to acknowledge that really Little Warriors and the way that you all show up today to create this amazing place, it really is a gem, and it's right here in Alberta, so thank you for that. The other thing that I just want to bring attention to is that we not only have our in-person Be Brave Ranch programs, but we have our online programs. We developed them during the pandemic, and we continue to serve over 4,000 people with our Prevent It program. All of our programs are considered barrier-free, and we are serving clients and families from all across Canada. We do this in a way when we have children, for example, who are referred to us and meet our criteria. They may be coming for 4 rounds of treatment, but each and every time we support them, if their parents are unable or their caregivers are unable to pay, we will even pay for transportation. And because of your support, we're able to do that and ensure that they have effective treatment. As we prepare for a huge celebration this summer, to mark our 10-year Be Brave Ranch anniversary, I really think the proof is in the pudding. We have hundreds of graduates and their families who have already confirmed that they would like to return to come back and acknowledge and receive support together. It's really an amazing place, and people heal in relationship. And I don't know of any other treatment center, certainly any one that I've been involved in, where people are eager to come back and people are eager to share in each other's successes. We're looking at this from the perspective of research as well as we begin a longitudinal study of our outcomes. As Jennifer mentioned, we do our very best at the treatment center to be intentional in all of the work that we do. To this end, this year, we've had many hands come together, as always, to create the centerpieces. The centerpieces have come directly from the Be Brave Ranch. We wanted some of you to literally take a piece of the ranch with you. And as a result, one of our therapy students created a print from a tree on our property. And as I'm sure you all know, all trees show each of their year's growth in their rings. And those who are experts in this area identify that there is also trauma and environmental changes that are acknowledged through those rings. People are the same. In us, we don't see them as rings, they're laid down genetically. We absolutely know that trauma is laid down within our genetics. But what's maybe more important to know is that the environment can tip the scales to make positive changes. And this is where Little Warriors shines. Our clinical team often talks about the ongoing goal of planting seeds. And we're doing that today, not only in coming together and having conversation about a really difficult topic of child sexual abuse, but we're planting seeds clinically. Previously, we haven't had a lot of research in how to treat children in this area and how to treat intergenerational trauma in this way, but we're learning and we're sharing all of the research on an ongoing basis. What we do know is that the stats are very concerning. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys report being sexually assaulted before the age of 18. There's also concerning stats that are showing a 38% increase in sexual interference of children in the last 5 years. Possession of child pornography has increased 74% to the previous 5-year average. And child luring through computers has increased 31% over the last 5 years. Incidents of child sexual trafficking and human trafficking are up, with 24% being survivors under the age of 18. So why do we exist? Well, we exist for many reasons. We exist because the stats are clear. Any of you who follow our social media know that right here in Alberta in the last 3 days, there's been some very significant information and charges in the news. It's not far from us, it's right in front of us. Our clinical team focuses on multimodal treatment. We use a variety of different approaches because we know that children and families are all different with different needs. As you saw in the video, we provide art therapy, animal-assisted therapy. We also have music therapy. We provide group therapy, individual and family therapy. I'm looking forward to hearing Timea's speech today. She was with us yesterday and toured the facility and gave some really awesome feedback about her perspective and what was needed for her when she was younger, but also as an adult as well. I could continue to talk about this incredible place, obviously, but I know that a picture speaks 1,000 words. Dogs with Wings Rugby and I have brought a little bit of the Be Brave Ranch to you to show you in this upcoming video. We hope you enjoy it because everything you're seeing here is true and comes from the work of the children, obviously with their permission as well as their caregivers' permission. It really is hopefully able to give you a perspective through the eyes of children and youth that we serve. We also have the honor of hearing a graduation speech from one of our recent grads. To put in context, in our final round of therapy, typically what our team works on is working on gratitude, but not only working on gratitude, but seeing value in each other and value in ourselves, recognizing and bringing forth that personal value. And I hope that her words inspire you to reflect on how you individually today can bring forth your own value and inspiration today, because we all have it. Her story is filled with wisdom and is deeply encouraging, and I urge you very intentionally to listen.
I used to believe therapy would be an instant solution to my problems, like an immediate fix. But after coming here, I discovered so much more goes into a healing journey. The adversity life has to offer brings us countless lessons, and it's so easy to let those challenges cloud our minds. Life's obstacles can so easily pile like a snowball in our heads to the point where it becomes one big issue, an issue that's nearly impossible to comprehend nor simply fix. When I came to this understanding, I got why they make us come back here 4 times. It initially felt like hell, and I had no vision of getting better here. That was because I didn't know healing takes time. I was oblivious to the fact that my hardships were too significant to solve in one sitting. Healing is a lengthy, strenuous process that ranges from good to bad days, from relapsing to phenomenal streaks, but it's all a part of the process, and that's okay. Now, I can grasp that therapy doesn't fix you, it guides you, since healing is only achievable through yourself and faith. Coming to terms with this was incredibly difficult because it meant I had to put in the effort and be comfortable with focusing on myself, which I'd avoided extensively. Bad influences, social media, and substances all held me back from putting the energy I needed to heal on myself. I hadn't realized paying attention to your feelings can be so scary and even agonizing when you've been putting it off for so long. Although it was scary in the beginning, I can now understand that when you go through something so traumatic, you deserve the attention from yourself and someone as qualified as a therapist. It's so easy to undermine our emotions and circumstances, but I learned it's vital to talk about them, even when it may not be a sad thing, because nobody should bottle how they feel. So when I reflect on how I used to think therapy was a fix rather than a guide, I think the fallacy in that was not knowing that the key to all my problems is and was always within myself. I just needed the time to heal, the focus from myself, and the guidance from my therapist to reach those solutions. Despite being unbearable at times, I'm infinitely thankful for the experience and connections I was lucky enough to gain. This place has made such a considerable impact on my life that I now have lessons I'll carry forever. I was fortunate enough to come here and be given the resources along with the unconditional support from the staff and my cohort in order to heal from something so many people have yet to heal from. I pray that everyone gets the attention and help they're worthy of, and I sincerely thank the Be Brave Ranch for showing me what true perseverance means.
Pretty incredible. That speech was actually written by a girl who graduated from the ranch and was delivered at her graduation ceremony, which we make a really big deal out of it. And it brought people on our staff to tears. And her eloquence, enabling the way she was able to articulate her journey, especially for a teenager, is so profound. So we're so thankful that she was willing to put it to tape so that we could share it with you today. And thank you so much, Wanda, for that presentation and the incredible things that you do for kids and their families all year round, and along with your team and your peers. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Timea Nagy. She's traveled from Ontario to be here today, so welcome to the area of what a winning team looks like. Enjoy. We're bringing her to Calgary on Friday, but we'll still turn her into an Oilers fan before she leaves. Her journey as a survivor of sex trafficking has made her one of the leading voices and change makers in our shared national and global movement against the horrific crime of sexual abuse. And just like child sexual abuse at the hands of a known offender, the impacts of trafficking, which as you saw in Wanda's presentation, are on the rise, the impacts are devastating. Timea is a UN advisor to the global financial sector. She played a key role in Canada's largest human trafficking investigation, which was led by Niagara RCMP. She founded Canada's first safe house for trafficking survivors and assisted over 500 police investigations and over 400 survivors. Timea is a founder and CEO of a survivor-led education platform called TC Online Institute. And her efforts, which I only touched the surface, her efforts have been recognized by the likes of Queen Elizabeth, Canada's Governor General, our Prime Minister, and she has been featured in major media from Forbes to CNN to BBC and CTV. Her memoir is called Out of the Shadows. It's a bestseller, and proceeds from copies sold here today will be donated to Little Warriors. So ladies and gentlemen, Timea Nagy.
Good afternoon. How is everybody doing? Fantastic. Now, is it a crime to say in this room that I don't know what Oilers means? I'm kidding. I know. I think it's a soccer team, is it? No? Somebody's like, no, stop talking. I'm from Hungary, guys. There's no hockey in Hungary, but I heard that your team is pretty good, so I even got a jersey, which I'm going to put on later as I drive to Calgary and pretend, yay. It's such an honor to be here. When I got the call about this incredible opportunity to be here and lend my voice for this incredible organization, I kind of pinched myself a little bit because I was in Edmonton 10 years ago. And I already heard about that organization that was just popping up at the time. And I already heard the great work that they were doing. So I had no idea that one day I will have the honor to stand on this stage in front of you guys and give a voice to the incredible work that they are doing. So I'm from Budapest, Hungary, and for those of you who don't know where that is, it's in Eastern Europe. And for those of you, how many of you want to go to Eastern Europe for a little trip? Hit a few countries. I'm going to save you some money, and every penny I'm just going to save you, just donate it back to the organization. Just pick literally one city in Eastern Europe because they all look exactly the same. They all have a very old castle, a river, and really old rickety churches. So you're welcome. The donation form is in front of you. But I am from Budapest, Hungary, and it is actually a beautiful country, but I grew up in communism. And as much fun it sounds like to you, it actually wasn't. That's me on the left in a baby picture, and the other one is my brother. And speaking of childhood trauma, that was my first one. Look at that baby hat. Why would your parents do that to you? I think my mom already knew at the time that I'm going to have a rough life. Mine as well. Start with that baby hat. But childhood trauma is a funny thing, especially, it's not funny at all actually, but it's a very interesting way of looking at life and looking at the topic childhood trauma. You look at childhood trauma, and in my specific case, there are so many different things that kind of played in part of the journey that I ended up being on. There is a list, it's called the ACEs list, and it's basically a list that was put together by clinicians, clinical professionals. And they said that if any of these, out of these events that happens to a child before the age of 10, minimum of 5 has to happen to a child. And it's not a matter of if they're going to be exploited, it's a matter of when. So I just want to I don't want to make you very depressed, because I think today's theme is about talking about a journey that can actually be reversed, a life that can actually be fully changed. And that was my case as well, but I was not lucky enough to be a part of a program like Little Warriors. And in the next few minutes, I would like to tell you what that means when a child cannot enter into a program like Little Warriors. So from my perspective, my childhood was pretty colorful, to say the least. My mom was a police officer during the communism. My father left when I was 9 years old. But before that, I was born into Eastern Europe. And for those of you who are not familiar with history, there was 3 wars that my grandparents and the parents before lived through. So I was born into a family that was born into a generational trauma. That was born into a generational trauma. So by the time my parents came along, they had no idea how to cope with their feelings. The government basically put a gag order on you. You can't really communicate your feelings. You can't really talk about anything. There is no mental health awareness. There's no psychologist. There's nothing. So basically at the time, the way they coped with all of their feelings is the man would go to the pub and get really, really drunk and then come home and beat the hell out of their wife in front of the kids. And that's how we grew up. That was completely normal, and that was our entire environment. So we had domestic violence. I was sexually assaulted from the age of 5 to 12. We had emotional abuse. My mom had mental health problems, which meant that she had schizophrenia, paranoid schizophrenia. She also had borderline, so we were walking around eggshells all the time. I have seen many, many suicides before I was 12 years old. My first suicide that I witnessed with my eyes, I was 3 years old. So again, from the age I was born until I was 12 years old, it was a very eventful childhood, but not in the way that you would hope. I'm not going to go through the entire list, but all I can say is that every single event that you see on that, I experienced before I was 12 years old. So according to the experts, it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when I'm going to be exploited or something really bad is going to happen. But just kind of stay with the theme and the conversation, and the topic today is, how did I really feel as a child? As a child who watched their parents fight every single day, living in a communism where you couldn't speak freely, where every single individual and adults around you were tense all the time. You had nowhere to go and you had no one to talk to. And we had a very small family, so even though my home life was extremely toxic, I thought that was normal. I had no idea that this is not normal, and I had no idea that I should be talking to someone. In my little world as a child, what I learned is how to scream and cry. So if there was conversations or confrontations, I didn't know how to have conversations with someone. I either started crying or I started screaming, because that's all I learned at home. The other thing I learned at a very, very young age, soon as the sexual, physical, and emotional abuse started, is to freeze my feelings. Just freeze it. Something really bad thing is about to happen, I'm going to freeze my emotions, and I freeze them. No emotions, no feelings, and for years and years. Walking on eggshells, which means you don't know what's going to happen next. So right now, you might be having a wonderful time with your mom on the couch and you guys watching a cartoon, but that can change literally in 5 minutes. And so I was always prepared to either fly or fight or run or cry. And that was my entire childhood. And how did that make me feel? This is how I felt deep inside. My whole childhood. I would go to school and I smile, but deep inside, it's like a motor that's keep going and going and going, and it never stops. And what that did is to make me really, really exhausted. I was tired all the time. And I was never hungry. I was skinny. I didn't want to eat. I barely slept. And again, I just never knew when the next crisis is coming. But I grew up. And even though physically I grew up to be a young woman, deep inside, that little girl who still didn't know how to communicate, didn't know how to do anything, always find herself in crisis, she kind of come with me along for this ride. So at the age of 15, I found a new family, so to speak, and I started working at a local TV station. And the TV station basically became my family. And so I ended up being on air. I had my own TV show. I became a producer and director, and I did that till I was 21 years old. And we were actually very, very successful. So on the front end, I was very successful. Behind the scenes, I attracted extremely toxic relationships. I attracted older men who constantly wanted to do naughty things with me, which they ended up doing, and I never told anybody. So even though I was very successful up front, behind the scenes, there's all kinds of stuff happened to me all the time. And I felt like there was this rhythm. Things would go really, really good, and in 6 months, things would go really, really bad. We would be in financial crisis. There's all kinds of crisis would happen. So by the time I was 21, my mom was in and out of the hospitals, and my brother, my only family, he was in the army at the time. And we got a notice that we are going to lose our home. And I didn't want us to be homeless, especially by the time my mom comes home. And I ended up taking this up on myself, and I answered an ad in a newspaper. And I met an agency, older people, who told me if I go to Canada, and I just signed some papers, I can be a nanny or a janitor worker, and I'm going to make all the money they want me to make in 3 months. I signed the papers, I didn't tell anyone, and I was in Canada in 2 weeks. Except that the agency was not legit, but I didn't have the knowledge to sniff through the red flags. I just simply didn't have that normal, healthy base. All I knew is I had a tunnel vision. We were in financial crisis, and they dangled the carrot, which was money, and I just wanted to fix everything for us. So I ended up in Canada, and within 2 hours after landing, I was taken to a local strip joint. I was 21 years old, and even though I had a very turbulent childhood, I also had some really positive and incredible times in my life when I was in camps. My mom was a cop, so the police officers basically raised me. I did have some positive influence in my life. So when I ended up in a strip joint, believe it or not, it was still an incredible shock. I didn't speak English. I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't have money. I didn't have my passport. So I was stuck. And I was stuck in a sex trafficking for 3 months. They didn't let us leave. They didn't let us talk to anybody. They barely fed us. Every day I got 1 egg salad sandwich and a nasty, and that's it. We worked 20 hours a day, and we made about $1,500 a day. And I worked for them for 3 months, and the money was never enough. I never ended up keeping any of the money that I made. After 3 months, I had to escape with one plastic bag of my belongings. And with the help of incredible Canadian people and Hungarian people, I escaped. And I ended up going back to Hungary, and it really wasn't a safe environment for me. At the time, police wasn't really aware of what human trafficking was, and this agency just so happened to be a large international human trafficking ring, and I was supposed to become a key witness in their court case, which meant that they were following me and trying to kill me for the next 2 weeks, which is why I escaped Hungary and I came back to Canada. And in Canada, I found a second chance for a new life. And it all sounded amazing after having this incredible, crazy, crazy life for the last 21 years. I thought, okay, it's all behind me. I'm here now. I'm good. I'm going to make it through. And I got my life together. And then 6 months later, it all fell apart again. And I got my life together again. And 6 months later, it all fell apart again. And I realized that something was wrong inside of me. I could move, I can get help, I can get new friends, but then I destroy everything. I destroy my life for some reason. And then I move again, get away from those friends, get new friends, and then, of course, these new friends are exactly like the old friends. I didn't have help. I didn't have a ranch to go to. I had no idea what was going on and why can I just get better. But what I realized is that I had this programming in my brain, in my subconscious mindset, and I realized this many, many years later, which is I'm not good enough, I am never safe, I am not loved, I am afraid of money, which my mother was terrified of money, I'm always in crisis mode, and I always have a tunnel vision. So that meant to me is that when I dived into my healing journey for many, many years, there's aspects of my life that I can get together, but anything that had to do with my emotions, communication, relationships, or money, or crisis, I didn't know how to deal with them, which are pretty important when you're trying to get healthy, right? So over the years, I had this realization that I have this repetitive behavior. But again, I had to do this all on my own. There was no textbooks for, here, your survival of human trafficking, here's a book, read it, you're going to be all better. There was no support, there's no shelters, there's no counseling system, the type that we actually need. Not to my knowledge, and not at the time. So what happened for the next 20 years is that, again, professionally, I became very accomplished. I did all the things that you heard earlier in my bio. I had people around me. I had police officers, first responders who were helping me. I did speaking engagements, thousands of them. I met princesses, the prime ministers. And up front, you might think that, oh my gosh, she's all better. Not until I was 40 years old, I realized that I still can't have a business meeting without crying. I still don't know how to respond when somebody is confronting me. At 40 years old, I would just cut people out of my life because I don't know how to have a conversation with them. I had an organization. I ran businesses. I still do. But for some reason, every 6 months, we would lose the money. So in one way, I was able to heal, but the core of my being that came from the childhood and childhood trauma, I was never really able to put together. So when I went to the ranch yesterday and I got the tour, and everybody explained to me exactly the therapies and the sessions and the approach that these children are getting for a year, I had this light bulb moment. These children, it takes them 1 year to heal everything that it took me almost 30 years. And the difference is this. A child who goes to Little Warriors will be able to have a kid when they are 30, will be able to get married. They will have a wholesome life well before 30. They don't have to wait till 40 or 50 or 60 or never. Because if you don't fix that bottom trauma that you keep carrying with yourself, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a lot of pain for the rest of your life. So it was truly an honor to go there. And the good news in this story is that about 3 years ago, I was led to several of those healing therapies that you guys are using in your ranch. 3 years ago, guys, I was 44 years old. 44. And for the last 3 years, I started implementing those therapies. And now I can happily say that I was able to heal so many parts of my life. And honestly, at 46 years old today, I have accomplished for the last 3 years more emotionally than I have ever done in my entire life. And that is because of those very similar approaches in therapy that you guys using at the ranch. So I was sitting there listening to you talking, Wanda, and I actually got really emotional. And I often don't feel really sorry for myself because it is what it is. But I could not help but wonder what would have happened if a 15 years old Timea would have had a chance to go to you guys. And I have an idea what would have happened. So anybody who has the honor and the chance and is lucky enough to go into your practices, I think will never have to go through what we go through, the ones that don't go and have the help from you guys. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing. But I wanted to leave it on a happy note because due to all the support that I received just in the last 3 years, I was able to heal a whole bunch of parts of myself that I never thought I would. I was able to find my father a few years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, and just have an incredible conversation with him after 30 years. I had cats again. When I left Hungary, I had to leave my cat behind. So that was very painful. So now I have a zoo. I found a man who became my surrogate father, one of them. His name is Robert Hooper. He is a lawyer out of Hamilton. And I actually met him when I was 30. And to this day, he's in my life. And every time I fall apart, he's there to pick me up. And just 2 years ago, I told him, I said, I promise you, you never have to pick me up again because I'm going to do my best to get better. But again, wouldn't have that been amazing to do this 20 years ago? I also just want to show you this as a last thought. That was me on the right just after escaping human trafficking, and I was 21 years old. And the life that I wanted at the time, or before this all happened when I was a little girl, I wanted to be married one day. I wanted to live in a nice house. And telling you these dreams seemed so out there, like it's never going to happen to me. But I thought that one day in my dream life, I'd love to get married. I would like to have cats. I'd like to have a dog. I'd like to have a dream husband. I would like to drive a Jeep, because I saw that in a movie back in the day. In America, all these kids driving Jeeps. But most importantly, I just wanted to feel self-loved. I just never wanted to feel that motor inside of me. And I wanted to get through any conversation without feeling like I'm in trouble and a fight is going to start. And for the last 2 years, that is my life. For the first time. And I know I said this a few times during the speak, but again, if you could just take 1 second. You heard my story, and I see your faces, and you're like, oh my God, this is terrible. It is terrible. It's a terrible story. It's 375 pages. If you want to get really depressed, You're welcome to buy my book later. Please don't read it before you go to bed. I'm just saying. But honestly, again, if you read that book, and as you heard my story, if you can just take 1 second to think about this, what could have my life be if I had a chance to go to Little Warriors? And I don't want to get sad about it because I do like my life now, but it would have been so nice if all this happened 20 years ago. So thank you all so much for being here, for supporting this incredible cause. I can't thank you enough for allowing me to be here to give a voice to the incredible work that you guys are doing. Thank you.
Like they said, thank you. What an incredible story. And if I could call up Kyle Friends from one of our sponsors today, Next Gen Transportation, we'd like to present you with our Be Brave Award, Timea. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Timea. You know, it's amazing when I hear that story and the parallels with the children and teens and their parents, caregivers, foster kinship, wherever is home for them. The parallels are so striking. And, you know, I'll be sitting in my office at the ranch, especially when I first started working there, you're kind of like, oh. And I would see, you know, 8-year-old boys go by or 15-year-old girls, and I would just think, what has someone done to you? And how brave they are to come and learn to love themselves again, to trust our staff, to lean into the traumatic memories of what actually happened. And they're just, you know, they're just young people. So thank you, Timea, for sharing your story, and we absolutely want to help them now before they're 30, 40, 50, and onwards. And so thank you. And, you know, in Edmonton and all around North America, really, we're looking at our downtowns. We're like, gosh, our downtown, and we're angry and upset, and it doesn't feel like home for us anymore. And, you know, when we had EPS Chief Dale McPhee out to the ranch recently, and he immediately drew the link between the help in those therapy rooms and those kids not growing up to be, or now, be in the back of his police cruisers, in his holding cells, in front of the courts, throwing bricks through windows, macing people, stabbing people, punching people on our transit. And so if you think this doesn't matter to you, it does. It matters to all of us. Alberta and this country is only as strong and successful as our young people, to a person. It can't just be some. And we know that child sexual abuse, it doesn't know whether you're wealthy or poor, or whether you're from a different ethnic group or religion. It's everywhere. And I think you'll leave this lunch and you'll start noticing how all too frequently those stories about a pedophile, a child abuser, are in the news. It's all around us. So thank you, Timea, for sharing and for helping us today. The abuse happens to girls and boys in our province and country. Most children are abused by someone they know, and since COVID, as Wanda said, online predators are surging, though. Victims wind up unable to cope struggle with shame, low self-esteem, feeling scared and anxious in the world, hard to trust anyone. They can wind up violent or withdrawn, addicted, self-harming, sometimes jobless, sometimes homeless. And independent research, though, was all about the data at Little Warriors. Independent research on our programs show that $1 saves $11 in unnecessary policing, health care, and other expensive social services down the road. Those are our tax dollars. $1 saves us all $11, not to mention the human suffering. So survivors we can help through early intervention do grow into healthy, happy, productive, safe members of our community. And since I joined Little Warriors in the last quarter of our last fiscal year, we took stock of those important core operations. So much was achieved before I joined. I'm just so impressed by this organization. Shortly after COVID, as Wanda said, the Be Brave branch doubled in capacity. It's too bad that we need to. The program for survivors' families was launched. The online awareness, prevention, all-around mental health programming was developed, one for children and one for teens, called our Be Brave Bridge. So this expansion is needed, and it's expensive. In recent months, we've also completed the trauma-informed design, architectural design for an adult treatment building. We've explored our zoning at our site. We've got input from our current licensed provider on what might an adult program look like and what's a good site location, and we need to search for a good place for exploring treatment with adults. Next steps are exploring the program. What would go into a building for adults still suffering from child sexual abuse and other trauma that Timea mentioned. So a pilot program is something that we're working on this year ahead. Conducting an environmental clinical scan of what else is out there. How can we partner and fit into the ecosystem in a really productive way with already others who already may be in this space? A feasibility study. What would adults want? A day, an evening, a weekend, a month? We don't know. What would they pay? What do they have the ability to afford? We don't know. So there's a lot of work that continues on the adult treatment exploration, and we're so proud to hopefully evolve our programs to help more people. This fall, we'll examine the life cycle of our existing buildings at the Be Brave Ranch. She ain't getting any younger. And I walk around every day and I'm like, how many years left on those shingles? And replacing the air conditioners, and it's a lot. So we'll examine the life cycle of our existing operations vis-a-vis possible new construction for children and youth, and we want to be sure we get it right. So all of the first early steps in any project, whether it's for adult survivors or continuing to be great for children and teens, getting it right and making sure that at the same time our core operations are stable and sustainable. So overall, we're focusing on that core mission, healing children and teens, while also ensuring fiscal stability and sustainability as we evolve and explore helping a wider demographic. The only reason we are changing lives and improving communities, cities and towns throughout Alberta and across the country, preventing future police, health care, addiction, homelessness needs is the generosity of those who give back. You. Please welcome one of our Little Warriors' longtime and very generous supporters, Mr. Angus Watt of National Bank Financial, Angus Watt Advisory Group.
Thanks, Jennifer. You know, when I look around the room and I see all the jerseys, I sure as hell know I'm not in Calgary. And I'm proud to be here. Timea, that was a great speech. It was always impacting, what if? And from that aspect to it, I wish we had a program for you over in Hungary, Wish we had one in Toronto. Wish we had one everywhere in the world. We were pioneers here, and we started. So I'm going to start my speech. But before I get started, I do want to thank the volunteers, because I know it's the volunteers in the organization that make it work. I want to thank the board of directors. I want to thank the clinicians, the clinical team and the staff, the sponsors, and all of you, because without you, we wouldn't have the ranch today. I was introduced to the Little Warriors during my tenure on the Edmonton Police Foundation and the TELUS Community Foundation boards a couple decades ago. Yes, I'm that old. And at that time, I was shocked to discover the absence of support programs for victims of child sexual abuse. Now, both boards supported the upstart of the Zebra Foundation, an organization focused on getting the predators off the streets. This, in part, underscored the urgency of the issue, that our children were actively being abused, and yet there were no programs in place to help them rebuild their lives. Along with the Edmonton Police Foundation, the TELUS Community Foundation, my wife Heather and I became early champions of this cause. Our aim was clear: to provide support for these vulnerable young individuals while concrete evidence of the potential impact was lacking at that time, 20 years ago. We were driven by the conviction that something must be done. Today, Heather and I take great pride in sponsoring one of the homes of the Be Brave Ranch. Annually, when the sessions are not in progress, we invite guests to tour the facilities with us, allowing them to witness firsthand the remarkable work being done there. And that video doesn't say enough of the facilities that you have and the impact that it makes. Each visit affirms our belief in the transformation power of Little Warriors, the resilience and the recovery of children who have faced unimaginable adversities, and their new stories every trip. What's interesting, though, upon leaving the ranch, we are always reminded, do not dwell on the sadness and despair of the stories we've heard, but rather to celebrate the dedicated efforts that are being carried out and the positive impact Little Warrior has on the life of every child who seeks refuge there. It is horrific but true that sexual predators lurk in every corner of our child's lives. Daily, we are confronted with the harrowing accounts, and the statistics only continue to rise. Heather and I believe that our financial support directly contributes to the success and well-being of Little Warriors. So without the collective support of individuals like all of us here today, Little Warriors and the Be Brave Ranch would cease to exist. So thank you for your support.
Thank you, Angus. So to run our current services, it costs just over $5 million a year, and that helps hundreds of children and teens get on a better path. We're only at 3.7, so we have a gap. And today we're asking for you to help us fill that gap. We think of the kids who have had the unthinkable happen to them, things we can't even imagine. And if we care about them and our own communities, we will direct you to the donation forms. You'll see one of these on your table. And Angus, and there are others in the room that I see who have given very generously. We ask you to take this form and give what you can, and know that you are truly making a difference in the future for not just fellow human beings who deserve our help, but also the towns and cities that you and your families live in. Along with our own fundraising, Little Warriors does get a lot of support from people and companies who raise money too. And we do have an amazing fundraising event happening that's outside of us, so we want to bring up from Heroes Unleashed, Matt and Nicole Devine, just to inspire you. Talk about giving. They're giving up their whole summer as dedicated individuals and difference makers, organizing a third-party event It's an epic 13-week fitness journey across Canada to inspire and recruit an army of warriors to start moving for their own fitness, but also to get involved by raising funds and awareness for Little Warriors. So as you take that pledge card and you support us, we'll give you a little bit of inspiration as well from others who are not only giving of themselves, but trying to help others give too.
Last summer, I cycled 12,500 kilometers across Canada. At the finish line, I was broken, but my mission was complete. And now, I hear the whisper once again.
Matt came into my boardroom and told me that the year before he'd run 7 marathons in 7 days. I said, oh, so like you're a big-time marathoner? He said, no, that was my first time. I said, okay, good. He said, this year I want to ride a bike across Canada. And so I said, well, so like you're a big-time cyclist? And he said, well, no, I've never done it. I go, okay, that's really good. It was so weird and so out there that I said, okay, I think I got to get involved with this guy.
So this year we decided to do another endurance event, and we're going to try to be as inclusive as possible, and not just with the modalities, but also the demographics.
We're going to start in Newfoundland, and we're going to head west, and we're going to stop at 13 major locations across this country where we hope to have events that engage the community from mental health to physical health, and have events where Matt is going to perhaps do a cycling event on the Saturday, or there's going to be a run, or there's going to be yoga in the park.
The goal of this event is to encourage people to get off the couch, find their passion when it comes to fitness and movement, and become an endurance warrior for these Little Warriors.
Little Warriors is a national charitable organization that serves children who've been impacted by the trauma of sexual abuse. They come to the Be Brave Ranch for 7 weeks out of the 52 weeks, and the other 45 weeks they are with their families. And so we're working as a team to help them heal.
And when we had the opportunity to come here to the Be Brave Ranch, at the end of this, I looked at Matt and said, yeah, this is the charity. These are the kids that we need to support.
Every minute out there, we're talking to people about our philosophy around transformation, about the importance of Little Warriors. So I want to see a big, big community every time we pull into town. It's a win-win situation, and we can do something really incredible here, not only for the individual, but for this amazing charity, Little Warriors.
Wow. So what are we all doing in our spare time? Holy cow. So you'll find information about that and all our other events. We've got some wonderful third-party fundraisers here today. Please get involved. You can find all that at littlewarriors.ca. So if they can ride across Canada and help us out, please do pick up your pledge form today and make a donation to help this very important cause. And also don't forget, you do have your online sheets. Somebody at home, each table needs to go home with the beautiful tree centerpiece, piece of art made at the ranch, a piece of the ranch. So we hope that you'll take advantage of both of those. And we are also about to announce our 50-50 winners. So before we do that, we will give a quick and another heartfelt thank you to our sponsors, Fluid Life, Flamin, Stahl Peterbilt, Next Gen Transportation, Trixie Rowan of Raymond James, Flesky Flynn, LLP, Angus Watt Advisory Group at National Bank Financial, Pembina, Delta Valley Landscaping, and Inline Group. I'd also like to, yes, thank you. I'd also like to thank the staff team at Little Warriors, Shannon Phelan and Kelsey Watt. If you can stand up and wave, I know you're here somewhere. They're at the back working. These two ladies These two ladies put this on, and another one in Calgary. I was like, oh, just can you do that too? Okay. Their eyes glaze over. What does she want now? But we're so lucky to have you both, and we've got a lot of staff and volunteers here today. So thank you to the amazing staff team at the ranch. The online auction, are we closing at 1:30? Yep, okay. So if you are the winner of an auction item, please complete the online payment and visit the tables in the hallway to take your item home. Please take your item home. I have a car and I don't mind delivering, but please take your item home. And a sincere thank you to all those who did bid and participate. And we've got our 50-50 as well. If the winner purchased their ticket online in the weeks leading up to this, we will get in touch with them. If you have the winning ticket and you're here in the room and you're still here, we'll invite you up to the stage. And we want to make sure, too, that please come on out to our Little Warriors 8th Annual Golf Tournament at the Quarry on September 4th. The spots are, I think, pretty much almost like we're getting close. So this is a really fun day. I know there's a lot of golf tournaments out there, but this is a great one, again, for a great cause. We're 60% sold out, and so if you want to get in on that, do act fast. It's a great place to take clients or friends or people from your own team at your company. Again, if you would like to purchase Timea's memoir, Out of the Shadows, they will be for sale alongside Dr. Kelly Palfy and Dr. Wanda Polzin Holman's books that they have published in the reception area. And all three lovely ladies would be happy to sign the books as well. Shannon, do I need to do anything else? We're just going to hang on for a bit and make those draws and then announce those? Yeah. And so because I think we're pretty well on time. So I think I've done all the housekeeping. Thank you. We would like to close out today's luncheon. There's no need for you to rush out, especially haven't you filled out your pledge cards yet or bought the centerpiece. But I have the great honor of introducing you to Jay-Z Sinai. And she's a local jingle dress dance artist who began that at the age of 6. She is also a strong survivor, a warrior, and she herself has graduated from the Be Brave Ranch. So welcome to Jay-Z. Thank you, Jay-Z. And what we love is that because of the Be Brave Ranch and Little Warriors, dancing is something that you can do and enjoy, and same for all of the kids that go through. So again, just a really heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you. We hope you've enjoyed our what we've been able to share today, and just really want to thank you all for helping us do the work that we do. We will be doing those draws shortly. Please stay, visit, mingle. We're all here to chat, and we will do the draws in a few moments, and if you're here, we'll announce that, and otherwise we'll be in touch with you. So thank you again so much for being here and your support. Have a great rest of your day, and go Oilers!